It's been in the news a lot, and everyone wants to know, where are we with gene therapy for CGD? Well, first of all, gene therapy has an advantage over transplant, where one needs to find a donor, because every patient is his own donor. We use the patient's own cells that we harvest from the patient and use any of a variety of methods, which I won't go into the fine details of here, to insert the corrective gene into the patient's own blood stem cells. They can then be infused back into the patient, but in order to make them engraft in the patient at high levels, the patient does need some of the kinds of chemotherapies that we use to make room in the marrow with transplant. So it's not a total free lunch here. One does have to use some kinds of conditioning that we also use for transplant. It's not this magic way of getting patient's own cells, inject them, and there's no toxicities, no problems, no issues, and it's all just fine at the end. But it does mean that everybody being his own donor, that gene therapy, when we finally get this to work properly, would be available for just about every patient. Now, there might be a patient so sick that you can't collect their own cells to be used. But for the most part, we would be able to collect cells from a patient, correct them, put them back in the patient. Where are we with gene therapy? Well, there are a couple of clinical trials that were open. At the current time, as I'm speaking right now, there's only one trial that's about to reopen to look in younger children to see whether we can get this to optimize it to work. But I'm aware of at least 2 other gene therapy trials for CGD that may open over the next year or 2. But understand, this is still going to be experimental, and one can't fix the world of CGD with gene therapy yet. And you don't want to scramble to have something done that we don't know for sure. How well is this going to work? Will it last for years and years to correct the child? We already know that transplants are for the life of the patient. If you fix it with transplant, yes, there's a rare opportunity you could lose the graft, but for the most part, people get transplanted. If it's a successful transplant, we have a long view of standard transplant, and we know that we can give a lifelong correction of the disease. We don't know that yet with gene therapy. Somehow, people believe if it's new and if it's exciting, it's got to be better than what we have, and that may or may not be the case. I believe myself that it eventually will be the case, and I'll end with that high note.